The pattern of war. What will be the next pretext? Dear readers, history doesn't just rhyme, it repeats with military precision. Again and again, the American public has been drawn into war not through careful debate or sober reflection, but through shock, outrage, and trauma. Whether manufactured or exploited, these moments create the emotional surge needed to overcome resistance, silent dissent, and justify destruction. They are the spark that lights the fuse. The goal, you may ask? To manufacture public consent for wars that ordinary Americans would never otherwise support. If you don't believe me, let's take a closer look at the pattern. In 1915, Lusitania. The official story was a British passenger ship was sunk by a German U-boat, killing 1,198 people, including 128 Americans. The narrative use was outrage in the US helped shift public opinion towards entering World War I, which up until that point wasn't there. So what's the controversy? Well, Lusitania was carrying munitions, making it a legitimate military target. Some argue that British and American officials were aware of the risks but allowed the disaster to rally support. The result? America's slow march towards war sped up. 1941, Pearl Harbor. The official story, a surprise attack by Japan on the US naval base in Hawaii, killing over 2,400 Americans. So how was the narrative used? Well, the attack crushed isolationist opposition and unified the country behind entering World War II. The controversy is that intelligence warnings were allegedly ignored or suppressed. And what happens if it was Roosevelt's administration not only had ample warnings but deliberately provoked Japan and allowed or enabled the attack, wiping out anti-war sentiment overnight? 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin. The official story, North Vietnamese boats allegedly attacked US destroyers in the Gulf of Tonkin. The narrative was used by President Johnson to push through the Gulf of Tonkin resolution, granting him sweeping powers in Vietnam. What's the controversy? Well, declassified documents and whistleblower accounts later confirmed that the second attack never happened. It was a fabricated pretext, a lie. But it worked. Congress gave Johnson a blank check, and America plunged into a bloody, catastrophic war. 2001, we had 9/11. The official story is Al-Qaeda terrorists with box cutters hijacked planes and attacked the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. How is this narrative used? Well, it justified the launch of the never-ending war on terror, including the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq and so much more upheaval in the Middle East and North Africa. Controversy? There are too many questions to ignore. The implausibility of the towers collapsing due to a fire, the mysterious collapse of Building 7, the missing plane at the Pentagon. How did a few men with minimal flight training and experience pull off such coordinated precision? Why did NORAD stand down? Why the sudden rush to surveillance, endless wars, and the Patriot Act? I and many others believe 9/11 was either a false flag or an event that was deliberately allowed to happen. Either way, it was used to usher in 2 decades of war and domestic control. The towers fell, the flags flew, and critical thinking died. We were told it happened because they hate our freedoms. But the real question is, who benefited? What about now? The machine still needs fuel. The appetite for war hasn't gone. It simply shifted east. And this war in Iran has been in the making for decades. The language is already in motion. Iran is destabilizing the region. Iran is threatening our allies. Iran must be stopped. Iran is the enemy. Iran is a danger. Sound familiar? So here's the next question we must all ask. What will be the next pretext? Will it be a false flag blamed on Iran, a domestic terror event on US soil, a cyber attack, a drone strike, a ship sunk in the Strait of Hormuz? And when it comes, will people see it for what it really is? Or will they cheer again as they did in 2001 and 1964 and 1941 and 1915? I mean, the next war is already written by the planners. It just needs its opening scene. So what can we do? Well, we can stay alert, we can stay skeptical, and never forget how quickly freedom is traded for fear when the drums of war begin to beat. And above all, share this article or podcast. Why? Because collective awareness is our only defense. Think about it. If these events truly required no deception, there would be no need to engineer our consent. But they do it because they know something vital. If enough of us see through their illusion, the illusion collapses. There's a reason these events are spaced out every 20 to 25 years. Any more frequent and we'd say, this is nonsense. But time dulls memory. Generational amnesia sets in. They know this. They count on it. But not this time. Please share this with 5 people and ask them to do the same, and again and again and again. That's how the spell breaks. That's how we stop another war. That's how we stop rising to anger quickly and start blaming and pointing fingers, especially the ones that MSM is pointing at. If you think I'm mad, ask yourself, what have you got to lose trying? A few honest, determined people have changed the course of history before. So why not now? So my friends, with love and urgency, share this far and wide. And let's make sure there's no more false flag, no more pretext for war, and America and Britain and the West don't plunge into a catastrophic war with Iran for the bankers and the cabal. Thank you.